And we're live. Excellent. This is such a weird day. He's already commenting. Oh, goodness gracious. I'm going to give people a few minutes. As I mentioned, I was going to give people a few minutes to kind of sort themselves in to the live stream before I officially talk about what I'm going to talk about today. My plans have been dashed, to say the least. Yeah, my plans have been dashed. But no matter, we persist, we adapt, we move on. We'll figure this out. Some people are very happy with being at home, but whatever. Yeah, I was going to talk about that. Go Browns, right? Goodness gracious. All right, check this out. The Ravens, of course, they won. Thus, I'm rocking the purple today, as you can see. And with the Ravens winning, it was like, okay, where are the Ravens going to play? Are we going to go up to Buffalo? Are we going to go to Kansas City? And to be completely honest, I am a bit afraid of Kansas City. I am. I'm afraid of Kansas City. Kansas City is an amazing team. Patrick Mahomes is going to go down as one of the greatest of all time. I'm afraid of that guy. So I was thinking to myself, okay, it depends. I mean, what's the perfect scenario? The perfect scenario is the Ravens going up to Buffalo if the Steelers lose. And I'm like, oh man, if only the Steelers could lose. And then when I checked it and it's 28-0 in the first quarter, I'm like, what the heck? That was awesome. That was so awesome. They scored a defensive touchdown on the first play of the game. It was so awesome. Anyway, I digress. Okay. I'm going to hopefully remind people as we go throughout this class period. But first things first, we were told, this is very strange, that we need to take attendance. And I'm like, okay, how are we taking attendance? And they're like, well, here's the weird thing. If you are a virtual student, meaning in my Genesis, you are labeled with that V. There's a yellow V in there. If you're labeled with that yellow V, you're a virtual student, and I just mark you in Genesis as virtual. I don't mark you as like present or absent. I just mark you as virtual. But if you are a 5-day-a-week student, I do have to mark you as present or absent. And that's what they're requiring me to do. So I decided that my best course of action would be this. In the chat right now, and I can see, and I posted it yesterday, so if people didn't see it, that's on them. Otherwise, they're going to be absent. I'm going to ask that you just, as some people already have, leave a comment in the chat, and that would be phenomenal. Now, this video is automatically saved to my YouTube account, which means I can go back and look at this and update my attendance, obviously very soon. So I'm just going to ask, leave a comment in the chat. I will go back and check that when the time is appropriate. And then obviously with your name being there, I can mark you present. So, yay. Such a weird thing. I know. There's like 12 people in the chat, but I think only 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about 9 or 10 of you have commented. Anyway, I'll remind you as time goes on. Now, first, how have my plans been dashed? My plans have been dashed. I did not think that Barnegat would actually pull the trigger. And, oh, he's like waving. I didn't think that Barnegat would actually pull the trigger and shut everything down. I didn't think they would actually do it. I mean, they've been resistant to it this entire time. They were resistant to it right before Christmas break. They were resistant to it when we came back from break. And then all of a sudden on was it Friday? Yeah, it was a Friday. Friday, they're just like, hey, by the way, shut it all down. Like, okay, we had this is how abruptly it came. We had an emergency faculty meeting on Saturday morning on the computer, of course, but Saturday morning. Are you kidding me? Anyway, so I didn't think that Barnegat would actually shut it down. this is how my plans have been dashed. I had intended that next week, which is a shortened week because you have Monday off, but I had intended for next week for you guys to do those presentations on your unusual sport. And now that is going to be a bit, actually, I was thinking either next week or the end of this week, actually. Probably would have been the end of this week. I would have begun things. But we can't do that now, which sucks for me. Not for you. You probably love it. But anyway, we are still going to do those unusual sport projects. So let's take it through. Let's go through it a piece at a time because I did have a bunch of people absent. My goal for today is this. I just want to verbally go through with you for a short amount of time what my expectations are for this project, especially with your partner or partners, I should say. I want to talk about how we're going to begin reviewing for the final exam, because it's your final exam. And then I'm going to send you to begin doing, or not begin, but continue doing that research with your partner. So first and foremost, let me go over to the computer and let me bring up, here we go. Let me bring up Google Classroom right here. Here we go. Can I copy that link? Yeah, I can copy that link and paste that there. Excellent. So in Google Classroom, there is an ungraded assignment which shows all of the partners and the topics that you have been assigned. So again, for those who were absent on Thursday, this is going to be a good catch-up for you. So it has everybody and their partners and the sport that I assigned them. And you can see that listed right here. All the way down. Cool. Then there's a PDF with certain expectations that I have. Or not certain expectations, what you're going to be researching. So in regards to your partners, whatever you end up researching, you need to make sure that you share that information with your partner. I would suggest one of you within the group creating a Google Doc or whatever it is that you're going to be doing and share it immediately with your partner. And that's where you're going to just throw all the information that you find. Now, ultimately, you're not going to just give me this Google Doc of information. You are going to create a PowerPoint. Now, this PowerPoint would have been what you would have presented in class. But now, unfortunately, we can't do that, but I will be able to grade you on other things. There are other expectations that I'm going to throw at you on Wednesday. Again, got caught off guard by today, so I'm going to have to digitize a bunch of that stuff and then get that to you for Wednesday. But you still will be able to get the first parts of this project done. So today, I am going to be posting kind of a midpoint assessment type thing for this project where I am going to ask for some preliminary information. Come on, load thing. And some of that preliminary information is going to be based on these 8 bullet points or these 8 numbered things. Your project will be assessed on these 8 broad things in regards to the unusual sport that you have been assigned. Now I'm going to go into a little bit more detail today. The historical background of your sport, meaning what country, what individual came up with it, what possibly led to this sport becoming a sport. I mean, like, for example, I think of basketball. Basketball, Dr. James Naismith with peach baskets and trying to get people moving around and things of that nature. And it just, took off from there. Well, that's basketball. You don't have basketball. What is the historical background of your sport? Is there any cultural significance to your sport? Something along those lines. the rules of the game, how it's played, how it's scored, how they determine a winner. Certain rules within the game, like are there, what is the legal motive of playing the game? Like for basketball, again, I keep going to basketball, but with basketball, you have to dribble the ball in order to advance the ball. In football, when the ball is hiked, you have the opportunity to advance the ball either by rushing or passing and things of that nature. But there are certain rules that come into play. With baseball, the ball is pitched, and then you have the opportunity to hit it. And once the ball is hit, then play begins. Something like that, Scoring. How do you score points? Are there points? I don't know. Like in wrestling, I would think like wrestling. Wrestling, yes, there are points in wrestling, but ultimately the points don't matter if you get the pin. But if you don't get the pin, then you need the points. Like some, weird thing like that. But how do you score in your particular sport? Equipment. Obviously, like, football, you have all the pads and the helmets and stuff like that. Soccer, it's a bit more, laid back. You just have like the basic uniform that you're wearing and like shin guards and cleats and whatnot. But what type of equipment is being used? The ball that's being used, if there's a ball. Some sports don't have one. Competitions. Is it just played within the confines of your country? Is there a league that governs this kind of thing? That actually not endorses, but like actually holds these competitions and then awards like a champion? Is there a champion? These are the types of things that you are going to be researching. Popularity / exposure. In the United States, we're not so much soccer fans. I mean, yeah, there's soccer. There are people who are soccer fans, but compared to the rest of the world loves soccer. And we're just like, it's okay. It's like American football. We're like crazy for it here, but then in other countries, they're like, it's okay. What's the popularity? What's the exposure? Like, is it played on national TV? Can I easily find it if I just flip through the channels? Number 7, general discussion and your thoughts. Your thoughts on this particular sport. Does it look awesome? Does it look dumb? Does it look safe? Is it gross? Like, what are your thoughts on that kind of thing? And then ultimately, the future of the sport. Is there a future for the sport? Is the sport going to continue growing? Will it expand into other countries? Will it eventually make its way to America? The sports that we play in America today, they've only been existing for 150 years? Baseball, 150, 160 years, something like that. It's not a long time. They played a lot of, jousting used to be one of the biggest athletic competitions in the world. And then eventually people just stopped jousting. What if one of these sports that you're researching tomorrow could become a national phenomenon? I don't know. Could be. Now, I am going to be putting out a more detailed kind of rubric that I'm going to be expecting of you. But these are the basics that you are going to put into a PowerPoint. Now, with that PowerPoint, I am going to be expecting, and you can find this, you just got to search for it, but I would expect approximately a 2 to 3 minute video. Not you make the video, but a video that you find on YouTube. Like, in your PowerPoint, like here's the, you embed the YouTube link and I can click it, but then you're like, just watch this time to this time. And then I click it and that gives me a sense as to what your sport is about. Your research, your PowerPoint, the way that you present this information, the way that you put together your thoughts, that will all go into the grading of this particular project. Again, with your partner, make sure you are working together and communicating. Because some people with the previous project, you're just like, I couldn't get in touch with my partner. You can email them. You can share documents with them. Don't go to their house, obviously. We're under quarantine, whatever. If you have any issues with getting in touch with your partner, as people have done, contact me, and I'll take care of it. And we'll figure it out from there. So, recapping for those of you that are here. Number 1, I just went over the finer details as to what you are going to continue doing today. I am going to be putting an assignment on Google Classroom today, kind of like as a checkpoint of what information have you gathered so far, or what can you summarize for me very plainly before you actually put it all together into a final project or a final product or something along those lines. We will begin reviewing for your final exam in spits and spurts, specifically on Wednesday. On Wednesday, I'm going to take a little bit of time and I'm going to begin reviewing some of the things from the beginning of the school year that we haven't seen in quite some time as we head towards this final exam. And yeah, it's just so weird talking to an empty classroom. It just really is. Anyway, if you have any questions from me, you can always email me. You don't have to throw comments into the chat right now. You can email me privately and I will be checking those soon. I'm going to leave this open in case you do have specific questions that I can verbally answer, because it might be easier that way. But I'm going to leave this particular live stream open. If you haven't already commented in the chat, please make sure that you do so that I have a record as to what to put in for attendance. But in the meantime, your job for the next half hour plus, get in contact with your partner. Again, your partner is on that Google Classroom assignment. Begin doing the research. Share that information with each other. And be on the lookout for what I'm going to post to Google Classroom, because I am going to be posting kind of a checkpoint thing. So let us get to work. And like I said, I'm going to leave this open. Haha. So you can stay here or you can click off and then begin the research, but you're going to be beginning that research. which, by the way, the live stream is on right now.
Oh, I'm going to say that survey Chip sent out. Did you do it?
No.
Okay, can you get that done?
I can.
Because we're like way below the rest of the schools. It smells delicious in here, by the way.
It's coffee.
I know.
Yeah.
So he just wanted me to run around the people up here.
Okay.
Just to see if they did it or not, just kind of ask them to get it done. Because like the other schools, not that they knocked it out of the park, but they were way above what we did here.
In terms of the childcare stuff?
Just getting it done. No, it was the one with the, do you feel safe here? There's like 4 questions. Answer it as honest as possible.
Oh, I will.
Thanks, Marky.
No.
I'll see you later, bud. If you need anything, let me know.
What a world we live in. Okay, I'm gonna sign off. If you guys have any questions, email me.